best bets for Monday in the NBA playoffs for April 28th. Joe Dellera, give me your best bets for tomorrow.
I like DaVon Mitchell over 17.5 if you can get it. There's some 18.5s obviously in the market as well, but I'm good with either points plus assists. And I am going to pull the trigger on Jabari Smith over 14.5 points plus rebounds.
Okay, I like pulling the trigger on that one. Jim Turvey, your best bets.
My main best bet is Evan Mobley under 3.5 assists. I have one lean, which is Chris Dunn under 9.5 PRA. And I have two, if a player is out. If Jimmy Butler is out, Steph Curry over 4.5 rebounds. If Russell Westbrook is out, Aaron Gordon over 2.5 assists. Obviously, we'll talk through all that.
I am simply going to play Rockets on the money line plus 145. That will be my only play for tomorrow. As of right now, I will probably find something Rockets Warriors after I finish doing the film on that one. I'll probably find something. I'll talk myself into some stupid Rockets play. Let's go backwards. Jim Turvey, talk to me about Evan Mobley assists.
Yeah, so this is one that come as flipping through the potential. That's just a starting point. You don't want to use it as gospel or anything, but I noticed that his potentials are way down this postseason. So he's only averaging 2.7 potentials per game in the 3 games of the series so far. And I kind of wanted a way to soft fade Cleveland. I was looking for Cleveland unders in general. I think that even though we just saw them absolutely smoke Miami, I think this could be a potential letdown spot. But the beauty of this is there's like multiple routes to this, right? There's the one route where they just run them off the court and it's a blowout and his minutes are low. And maybe they score a bunch of points when he's on the court, but they just did that in game 3 and he didn't even come close to this. But this postseason in general, we're seeing the unders are hitting. The whistles have been, kind of tight. They're not blowing the whistles much. We're getting a lot of unders. So I wanted to look for an under here. He also went under this in both of their regular season matchups with Miami as well. I think it makes sense if you think about who he's matched up with in that front court. When Jared Allen's off the court, he's probably drawing Bam, one of the more versatile centers out there who's maybe not going to be able to, take off the first step, shift the defense, and then kick out. And then as always, when I'm looking at unders, I like to have, a big who's likely passing to, some of those shooters. Those shooters maybe are going to have a little bit more trouble in a road playoff game. So all those put together, and Mobley under 3.5 assists is my favorite bet for the night.
Great cap. That was all great stuff. Joe Dellera, tell me about DaVon Mitchell.
So this line, we just keep getting it, and I'm just going to keep betting it. I've hit this now basically every game this series, and it's just been feeding us. He's got over 20 in all 3 games. The biggest thing is that he's actually doing this in large part with his scoring. The assists have not totally translated, even though his potentials are off the charts. He's had 20, 18, and 15 potential assists in the 3 games so far this series. So it's really just maybe they convert a couple extra shots and we see a little bit more in terms of the assists. So I like the combo stat because the floor has still been there. We're not seeing it tail off. And there's obviously a lot of potential for him to get some assists and kind of contribute for the combo prop in that regard. But either way, the assists aren't bringing it down, and he's gotten plenty of scoring opportunities. He's just not the primary offensive weapon that you would think about having to stop for Miami. So he gets opportunities, and he's going to get some open shots. He's going to take his threes when they're open, and he's playing 35 minutes. So there's plenty of opportunity there for DaVon, and he's somebody that I think Spoelstra wants to really see grow in this spot. And it's not like Miami's necessarily going anywhere. He's not going to get benched if they're having a bad game. He's going to get his opportunity to get out of whatever it is. So I like him to go over the 17.5 points plus assists.
Excellent. I'm with you on this one. I'm just very excited. I'm hyped for off night. I love that DaVon Mitchell is getting this opportunity and this looks so good. I'm just, get DaVon Mitchell some help in Miami. I don't know.
He was on my surprise positive list.
He's been awesome.
It's been really cool to see. I just think it's really cool to see guys get in the right situation and finally get that opportunity and develop. I also think it's very interesting that there's a lot of guys that the Raptors that the Heat and that to me is there's some sort of weird. They identify the same players. There's something in there where they identify something in them that's similar there. Look, Rockets is not a tough cap here. It's mostly just, do I think that the Warriors are so much better than the Houston to go up 3-1? I don't. And I think the Warriors are going to win the series. That's evident. I don't necessarily love Jimmy Butler coming back because that means fewer 3-point attempts. Like a pretty good formula here is, hey, we're both going to play a slugfest and Steph's going to hit a bunch of threes. That's a good formula. That's a really good formula. I don't know that Jimmy's a great formula. Now he can have a monster Jimmy Buckets game, and that's fine. But I like it enough to be like, Ime is going to find enough defensive answers for the rest of them. Because honestly, this was a lot of it is when I watched the rest of the offense, I was like, this is gross.
Yeah.
Like the non-Steph shooty hoop stuff is rough. And that was enough for me to be like, you know what? I think that the Rockets can get a contribution from Dylan Brooks or Fred Van. This is the Rockets fan argument is like, on any given night, it could be any of these guys. I've covered teams like that. That does not work. You cannot do that. It has to be one guy. But for a game, it can be one guy. Dylan Brooks, Fred VanVleet, or a combination of guys. Jabari Smith, like any of those guys. So I do think that that's a way that they can get this done. Joe Dellera, talk me into Jabari Smith over.
Yeah, so I kind of alluded to it a bit earlier in the show, but my thing is his minutes have been really consistent, and he's somebody that can not totally create his own shot, but he can make some tough shots. Give him the ball in the post, he can take advantage of a mismatch, and I think that's going to be the way that Houston needs to attack this Golden State team. I think that they need to focus a little bit more on rebounding, getting some extra opportunities, and like you had said, it's like, hey, get that offensive rebound. You don't need to reset the offense, just put it back up. And Jabari's somebody that can do that. So I like the combo prop here. It's been pretty consistent, at least with 5 rebounds in terms of his floor, but there's always some ceiling opportunity for Jabari if the minutes increase. He's basically played 25 in all 3 games so far this series. So I like the upside there. And I think that he can score as well. So 8.5 is not a super high line for him. And the last couple, since he's played, say, between 20 and 30 minutes. I think that he's going to be somewhere within there. He's hit this in basically 9 of his last 10 games in that minutes stretch. So one of the misses was obviously in the series, but still, I like the opportunity for Jabari against the Golden State Warriors. So there's a couple cool combos that people have been throwing out there, like 10 and 5 at some alts. So I don't mind any of that, honestly, either. If you're looking to get like a bigger number, and lock yourself in a little bit on the script for how he would do so.
Yeah, Mitch Armstrong in our chat says Jabari 10 and 5 rebounds, 10 points, 5 boards at plus 175 on 365.
Yeah.
Here's one from Stop Geoengineering says at Joe Dellera, Jabari Smith Jr. over 14.5 points and rebounds, minus 120 ESPN bet. He's 19 of the last 20 on this, so not bad there either.
Yeah, I capped his minutes when I did the filter just because I was like, he's not going to play 40, you know?
Right.
So I was like, I'd rather look at like 20 to 30 and like, what's the range there? What are we looking at? But when I was pulling the rotations, I like the fact that he doesn't play like we had talked about. You're not seeing him, Şengün, and Adams on at the same time, but he's playing with Şengün and he's also playing with Adams. So he's getting some opportunities kind of with both players to get minutes at like the 4, basically.
Jim, I did not write down best bets because my brain is scattered and I am sweating this Miles Turner hitting one more 3. He just missed one and I want to die. What is your other best bet for the night?
So my lean was Chris Dunn under. Honestly, this comes from a point from your Substack talking about how he really isn't looking playable and that some of the defense on Murray isn't actually really having an impact. Murray's just missing the shots. I thought that was a really good point. And I think so this is more of a lean because they did kind of sniff it out. This is lower than he's gone in most of the games. His minutes have gone down each of the 4 games. So if we consider, that trend to continue, it'd probably be right around here. I think you kind of juice it though by playing this Dunn under 9.5 PRA and add Murray under 20.5 points. Because I think if Murray is cooking, even though it's like, I agree with you that the defense hasn't been the direct impact, I think they will utilize him to try and slow down Murray. I think if Murray's having a quieter game, it means you can use less Dunn, ironically. So I think that's one that would almost seem to be inversely correlated, but you could pair those together and get yourself a little bit longer number that theoretically actually are correlated on Murray not having a good game, not needing as much Chris Dunn. What do you think about that since it came from your article in general?
I like it. Bogdanovich has done a pretty good job defending him, and Murray is just like Murray had a really good game in game 3 when they got thumped. So that's why I feel bad for Murray is like he had an awesome game in game 3 when the whole team was horrible and was awful in game 4 when everyone played well and they had to win close. He just couldn't hit shots. To me, he's getting clean. I don't necessarily trust Bogdanovich's defense.
No.
I feel like if they're going to play Bogey, so this is kind of the counter to the Dunn argument. If they're going to play Bogey, they're going to run him through so many rescreen actions. They won't run him through off-ball screens, which I kind of wish they would, but they won't. They'll just rescreen a lot with Joker and just be like, hey, you get to run into Nikola Jokic 30 times. How does that feel? And that will cause separation. But I do think that, like, ultimately, Dunn has been losing minutes, time, and they are doing the Westbrook on him, where they're like,
yeah,
we're doubling with your guy, and you're going to have to make us pay for it.
He's coming off a 1-for-9 game.
Yeah, and it does feel like with this being a game 5, it's not. I don't think it's a must win, but like they're going to treat it like it's a must win. You know, the odds of tightening the rotation go even further, and it does seem like he's moving away from going smaller. That he wants more size on the floor, less Chris Dunn. No, Ben Simmons losing minutes as well. It seems like they really want to get to big, long, athletic, and Bogey's pretty big. So I do like the Dunn under, and I do kind of agree with you where it's like, hey, if Bogey just does a pretty good job, like, hey, we don't really need Chris. Like, I like that cap. That's a very smart correlated cap because it increases the odds payout in the event that both of those things can happen, even if it's not that game script does not occur. You can still get there for any number of reasons. So I like that cap quite a bit as well. A few I want to hit from the chat because the chat gave us some bets in the comment section. SGE says LeBron over 25.5 points is already juice minus 20 or worse across the board. It's been a tough year for him to hit this number in night in, night out. He's looked great, but older and human. Joe, do you want to fade the king?
No, I don't. I think the number's high, but I think that it makes sense. Like he's probably going to play 40 plus minutes again, and like he's been getting to the rack. Like he's doing fine, honestly. He's scoring effectively. It's just that they don't have a lot else right now besides him and Luka, and like you're playing this slow, like relatively slow, like half court style of game, which I think is okay to for Minnesota. They're just like, all right, like we're fine with that. So I'm not interested in fading it. I think there's going to be like max effort from LeBron, but maybe like turnovers, maybe over turnovers.
Matt, you want to hear a Galaxy brain? I had that whole cap about fading Rudy Gobert rebounds leader. It's looking great, except I didn't put LeBron in there because his rebounds had been down since Luka came to town. And it looks like LeBron's going to lead the series in rebounds, which is an amazing overthinking on my part and leaving off, getting the cap right and the bet wrong.
Just chef's kiss on that one.
Yeah.
You've been around me too much. That's where that happened, Jim. You gotta spend less time talking to me. SGA wanted to ask me about Christian Brown looks. Finally got loose in game 4, like I expected him to in the series. He's really disappointed me. I'm not dipping my toe back in the water. That feels like there are these many adjustments that happen throughout the course of a playoff series where you move away from your coverage on a guy, where you're like, all right, we got this handled. We're going to focus on other things because they're killing us. And then that thing like pops loose like it's a leak. And then you have to be like, all right, I got to put my hand up there again and plug that off. It doesn't feel like it's going to be hard for them to stop Christian Brown, even though I think he was really good in game 4. Ryan Smith is man of for my own heart. He says, can I interest you in Panthers NHL Eastern Conference winner plus Minnesota versus OKC conference finalist at plus 1213? I have to check with my wife because she's an NHL psycho and she is the person I go to for any and all hockey takes and or bets. But Ryan, I will check on this and I will get back to you, sir, because I like this very much. We'll talk about
I thought
that.
he was throwing out a Carolina Panthers, like some post-draft analysis.
That immediately hit me because I got suckered into Brandon's Panthers Island in Greece, so I had the trauma of that. All right. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being. Oh, David Martell, who always joins us, pops in late with Celtics Pacers game 5 closeout parlay is minus 167. Get out your fancy gloves and a top hat. Time for a gentleman's sweep. That's Joe Dellera at Joe Dellera, Jim Turvey from Roto Grinders at Turvey Bets. I'm Matt Moore. My thanks to our fill-in producer this week, helping us out on the audio side. I'm sorry that I wasted your afternoon and you thought we were doing a show earlier. Appreciate you doing this episode. My thanks to Giver Gould, helping me out on the tech side at youtube.com/The Action Network. Buckets live Wednesday night, 10:30 Eastern. Be there, be square. Give us a 5-star review. We'll see you guys again next time. Till then, let's get buckets.